always knew I'm not the best in many things. I started to use this natural opportunity to use other talents to achieve something, and that's how I became more or less capable to engage people, to give them the opportunity to shine, and in a way to go together with them. And during that time I found out that it's not for me to be mediator. I need to feel some people. I need to impact people. Long-term success and sustainability is related to trust. And if there is no trust, there is no sustainability. That's I would not say basic rule. I would say this is axiom. It's fundamental. Eyes could be different.
For each person, something else.
Yes, but one of the typical form of lie is just stay in silence about yourself, not to share what you really feel. And this is also incredible form of lie. And you even don't need to share things opposite how you feel. You can just stay silent and don't share. And this already creates totally different perception about you. Second type of lies are that we don't share.
Welcome to Inner Power Particles. I'm Farhad, the host of the podcast. We talk with entrepreneurs and leaders about how they have solved the challenges in their life or business and how it has transformed into new inner strength in them. And with this we want to help that you also can look at your life or business situations and see how you can solve the challenges in them, and through that transform them also into new inner strengths, inner power particles in you. Enjoy the show. Hi Martin.
Hi Farhad.
And thanks for finding time for this conversation.
You're welcome.
I trust it will be valuable and interesting. I want to start with a simple question. I know that you recently returned from the United States. Can you share what were you doing there?
I was participating in a government financed program which is linked to education innovation. And we, as maybe someone knows, someone doesn't, that in Latvia we had great reform of higher education institutions, and they created a need for professional boards which works for universities. And as I'm one of the high school, I would say, college, banking school, I'm chairman of the board. I participated in the program together with policymakers, with highest civil servants about how to create right environment for innovation within education system in the country. So that kind of interesting thing. We were for 1 week program in Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. And that was back to roots for myself as well. 15 years ago, I had opportunity to have one great summer school course in Kennedy School in Harvard University, and now I was next to them in Massachusetts Institute of Technology. And it's so famous with that environment, have to create perfect place for coming together people from universities and business and investors. Mm-hmm. And we also visited one specific center where most of the Boston's main ventures are built, like Google, like some others.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Quite an impressive place.
I understand you were there wearing your university's chairman's hat.
Yes,
so
right.
It's a role you have, and I know that you are also in other professional board. Maybe you can share a bit more about what are your main roles, professional roles that you have now in life.
At the moment, professional roles, definitely. I like to call myself as professional board member, mentor, and also small investor. I'm representing whether states' interests or shareholders' interests in various different companies or organizations like this university or stock exchange listed companies in finance, for instance. One is Delphin Group, and also a very different role. I'm representing states' interest in a regulatory company which regulates railway infrastructure.
Mm-hmm. How do you see, if we look at now narrowing down to the business, respecting all the other roles, but as I myself, I'm more working with entrepreneurs, I'm curious. So when you are a professional board member in a business organization, what is the value or perspectives that you bring to the company or to the shareholders? So yeah, why are you there and what value you create?
In most cases, I'm representing personality who are capable to work with talent, with organizational structure, and with strategies. Usually when you create boards, you try to get their different perspectives, experiences and knowledge as you can. And in my case, talent, strategies and organizational structure are main three directions where my input would be most valuable. So this is what I'm looking for within, and team leading as well, because I had quite an experience as a team leader. I'm usually the chair of HR committee. So this is my natural role within company.
Yeah, I've been working together with you in our mentors group already for several years, and you strike me as a person with a very clear and sharp view on matters relating humans and people, meaning like this very direct view that you can see things. Can you share a bit what has formed you? What, if you look back at your life, what are the main experiences and also learning experiences that you feel have formed your abilities besides your talents? Yes, like people have inborn talents, but then there are things that we learn. And some things we learn through quite trials.
In my case, that was from childhood. I always knew I'm not the best in many things. I started to use this natural opportunity to use other talents to achieve something. And that's how I became more or less capable to engage people, to give them the opportunity to shine, and in a way to go together with them. And because of this capability, in very early age, I became as a leader of big institutions. And that was like age 25, 27 years old I was. And I had to jump really fast, not to fail. I had to be capable to trust other people, to their experiences, and go together with them. And if I would combine with my one of the ages when I worked for Ministry of Interior, where people are very clear and straight, no bullshit there. So I guess it created opportunity for me to learn how to be to the point immediately. There was no time when you start meetings. Those were like famous tradition in Ministry of Interior's so-called 5-minute meetings. In the morning you came together as team leaders and you just had to be clear, is there challenge today? If not, go and work with what you should do. If there is a challenge, please share. Let's think what we should create as an answer to that. So from that sense, environment, which was very pushy because of my age and because of great lack of experience if I compare with my colleagues, other system, and then this approach of people who work for forces, then I guess that was the great beginning.
Mm-hmm. And now the fact that you are now as a board member and also a mentor, What made you to go this path? There are many other possibilities what to do, right?
I did not have exact plan to become as professional board member. That was guidance of universe, I would say, because I worked for government more than 10 years, and I was 37 years old. I understood it's whether now or never I will get opportunity to start some private activities in private business or whatever. I started to work as mediator between business and the government. I was main lobbyist of banking industry in the country. And during that time, I found out that it's not for me to be mediator. I need to feel some people. I need to impact people.
Yeah.
But when you work as lobbyist for industry, usually you represent interests and you try to combine different interests. And it's less about people have to inspire their talent. It's about like mediating between different interests. So that I found out it's not for me so deeply as I would like to feel myself. And in 2016, there was new reform in public companies in Latvia because we joined OECD. And a lot of supervisory boards were built for public companies to increase their efficiency and create better corporate government environment. So I found out that it could be mine. So I started with big organizations like Latvenergo and then a real estate company which represents huge infrastructure, supervisory needs. So that created for me this start. And in parallel, I started to mentor young talents through Junior Achievement Latvia. So that also was an experience which I never planned, but the colleague invited me and I started to support this leaders program as mentor.
Yeah.
Every year we support 13 youngsters from high schools age 16 to 18, and it inspired me to support those young talents. So that's kind of combination of processes which brought me to the mentoring of startups as well.
Also startup scale-up founders, yeah.
Yes, startup scale-up founders, CEOs, and other personalities.
And I guess I feel at least what you are meaning when you say that the lobbying process is not so much supporting people, talent to grow, but it's more like aligning interests. But can you explain a bit more, share your view, how are you supporting people through being in a board, and how are you supporting through being a mentor, and how those two things are different, or not things but
processes,
experiences.
Yes, experiences,
and not different from the legal perspective but from the essence perspective. Because maybe just to add that someone who listens, many people have advisory boards, then some have also the formal boards, and then if they're considering also mentoring, then how this thing is this thing and that thing is that thing, and each is valuable in its own sense, but how? Through your experience.
Main difference I see is focus. When you are board member, and when I'm a board member, I focus whether to the process. If I'm chairing, for instance, board, I should be very focused on agenda, what board should complete during a year. I should be very focused on process, how to create each separate board meeting, to get out of that board meeting all what we can create as value as board, whether in challenging of management, whether in new ideas, whether in controls to understanding risks. Yeah. So those are main focuses for the board. And when you are board member, you are focused on agenda. You are looking to the topic which is on the table, and then you think about your experience, your knowledge, what you can contribute, what kind of questions you could ask to challenge management to create new perspective. And then the focus is topic, content of the business.
Yeah.
But when you are focusing on the personality, whether this is CEO, whether you are looking for new talent in board, whatever, then you are looking to the personality, their fit with current strategy and challenges of the organization, and whether there are some potential which you could show, open, inspire, or in a different way to support. So I would say those are the main differences: personality and content.
Mm-hmm. And to be able to work with people in such a way that you see the potential, you sense the personalities, and help to put the right people in the right seats, you either need born talent, or you also need to have gone through some hardships yourself in this and have worked on yourself. Can you share a bit about your personal side? What has been hard for you in your life, and not from the oh how bad it was perspective, but what was the experience or the learnings extracted from it?
I guess there are different stages in different ages, but I would definitely start with this surviving mode. When I was 25 years old, I had opportunity to lead Latvian migration office, and most of my senior colleagues and management team that we were at that moment were between 40s and 60s age. The experience gap was quite big.
Also generation gap.
Yes, I would say all of them. All of them. And that was the big challenge for myself, just to stay as I am with my curiosity, to add at least one thing which I can add, and that was courage and risk, which I brought into our management team, and ambition that we can make great things happen. And we would like to be stylish and modern if compared with whatever that time was the public institution with UX and client service. So that was my thing, what I could brought, but I never tried to challenge how to do migration or how to create database. So that was my first learning. Allow to people to do what they do their best, and not to try to be better as them.
Yeah.
In that sense. I guess that was the main lesson from that time. And it also allowed me to understand that I can work with totally different people with totally different experience. And it works. It just works. And then I had second experience, and I got opportunity to lead Ministry of Justice. I had to create my team. That was totally opposite. In migration office, I had to work with the team that I had, but there I got opportunity to create most of the colleagues from the scratch team. And there I learned to start every cooperation with moment when I'm looking into the eyes, whether I see some fire or not.
Uh-huh. Can it be faked?
I don't remember that it would not work.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay.
It's without science behind. It's very clear feeling, whether there is this energy, there is this fire, there is this feeling that this person would like to have this opportunity for himself to explore his potential, to find some new experience, whatever kind of motivation is behind, but still this is that. And then the rule of 10,000 hours works when you use this approach every time when you meet someone as potential candidate, then you start to understand what the behind. That how I got this understanding, I would say.
I'm now 41 and I somehow feel that I had my midlife crisis already in the late 30s, which was really a crisis, and with certain experiences and learnings. How about you? Can you share anything on this front? Meaning, was there or is there what it has been or is for you, or it's still ahead? How do you feel?
I hope it's behind. I hope, yes. In my age, already too late to start to recognize midlife crisis. I definitely would recall combination of defeat in my first marriage. I had 20 years long marriage. We have two beautiful daughters. They are already quite great ladies, age 29 and 25. I'm so happy about this experience, and I always like to call myself proudly as father of two daughters. But at that time when the relationship broke, I tried to understand what's wrong with me or with the environment, etc. and why is that. And I had opportunity to have a conversation with one friend, and she created for me some astrological map. And she said, "Martin, you see that thing there? It's a personality without head. A lot of shit comes out from you there. You are a great liar."
An astrologer told you that you are a great liar.
Map showed that,
Okay.
that there are a lot of shit coming out from you. And
Yes.
interpretation was mine, actually. I understood that the core of challenge is that I'm natural liar, especially to myself. So
Quite the learning.
and that was like when someone comes to you and asks you, "You still dreaming? Okay, let's wake up," and takes baseball stick, quite a big one, and hits you to the head. So that was so perfect hit for me. It took quite a time to create totally new routines, methods, how I talk to people, how I think, how I look to myself. And definitely it's still there, but now I acknowledge that. And that's much easier to be honest in relationship, which I failed a lot before that. So the main thing is I become capable, manage honest relationships.
By the way, this is very interesting about lying and also to yourself. I am one of those people who thinks that most people lie to themselves, and it's hard to see that you are doing it actually.
Sure.
Now, in retrospect, what do you see? If you can share about yourself, if not in general, what are the things that people lie to themselves? And what are the sneakiest of lies, meaning that I'm lying to myself and I'm even not aware of it. And then only after some crisis comes, then we start to see it.
Lies could be different.
For each person, something else.
Yes, but one of the typical form of lie is just stay in silence about yourself, not to share what you really feel. And this is also incredible form of lie. And you even don't need to share things opposite how you feel. You can just stay silent and don't share. And this already creates totally different perception about you.
Yeah.
Because in relationship, all the thing is understand reality. What's going on here and what's going on there in your mind and in my mind, and between us we have tons of misunderstanding opportunities. Whether we even understand differently one term, whether we different understand a feeling or whatever. And if I'm not sharing clearly enough that I'm not happy at the moment, or I'm pissed off about something what's going on there, then other person even doesn't know that you feel happy about something outside or bad about something inside. Second type of lies are that we don't share real reasons why we are sad or happy. And especially in first part of life, people are really more egoistic, as more open to understand universe. When we come to this life, there are only understanding about myself. Then we slowly go through the processes when we start to understand other world. And because of that, when we are in age 20 or 25 or still 30, we still think that a lot of things are happening because of us. But in reality, they are just happening and there is nothing to do with us. For instance, in the morning, my face is fucking gloomy. It's really bad face. And in my earliest experience of relationships, my partner at that time thought it's because it's something, whether she did bad or there is something bad, but I'm just not awake yet.
Yes.
I'm not full with happy energy and my face is really angry. And that helped for myself in early ages when I was chief of migration office. People thought he's strong guy and he's angry about something that is wrong. We should be calm. Actually, I was scared. Mm-hmm. I was so scared when I started to lead this big organization without knowledge, without experience. But under this face, it helped me at that moment. But it did not create an honest relationship.
No, yeah, that is true.
So that's the important thing to understand, that our faces, our expressions rarely shows reality about other person.
Yeah.
In most cases, those faces, those expressions shows reality, what's going in my head.
But now I will just play the devil's advocate. If you start sharing how you feel, what you don't like, what you think, actually this starts to create conflicts. And one of the social mantras is that conflict is bad. You shouldn't go conflict, you shouldn't upset other people. And now if you put this also in a business environment, then you should be polite to others, not steer the boat and whatnot. Like sometimes people go with steel faces throughout the day, then come home and they're lash out. Maybe they're just somehow easier not to keep these social norms so much. What do you think about this sharing the actual feelings and thoughts in the work environment? And let's take the management, just management in between themselves.
The difference is between conflict to create better future versus conflict to blame others in my bad day or my fail. So if we understand that at the end our main goal is to succeed in some way, to create some progress, to build some product or whatever, then conflict shows that current agreement between you and me, or between colleagues, or between me and client is not working. And there should be whether new agreement, whether upgrade, or whether split. So conflict as information for opportunity to create better new agreement, then you use this conflict as value. If conflict shows only my internal lack of happiness, then it leads to the fail.
Unless the internal lack of happiness is a result of compromising to things that I don't like in the environment.
It could be, of course, also in that way, yes. Fully
But
agree.
question about still bringing up stuff and confronting. Let's assume we are now looking, a CEO is asking us, okay, I would like my management team to come to me and share what they actually think and feel, but they're not doing it. And there is this inbuilt power problem that if you are on the top, then people, unless you are super like democratic guy, otherwise people will, in many cases, will think before saying something because there's this natural concern that you have power over me. If you have a bad day today, you don't like something, you will hold a grudge against me and this can turn out bad to me. Maybe in smaller organizations where there's this more family-like feeling, it's different. In bigger organizations where the office politics kick in, this might be a concern. So for such a CEO, how can you support the people to open up? Or should you even?
In any organization, long-term success and sustainability is related to trust. And if there is no trust, there is no sustainability. That's I would not say basic rule. I would say this is axiom. It's fundamental. But always there could be some gap, and there will be not like 100% of trust, because in 99.9% cases, people even don't trust themselves fully, even less they trust to other people. Yeah. And always there will be some feeling of conflict of interest, because there are some logic why is that. But in the same time, you always have opportunity to build more trust, which creates new form of cooperation and a feeling of being in the right place. So from that sense, leader always should understand whether he has personal power, capabilities to build this trust, or he needs some additional resource for that. And we always can use both, but we should be really very focused on need to create trust and all the time validate whether we are in the place where trust prevails, some other behavior.
This is very interesting perspective. So what you're saying is that the part of the leader's actual power, and not the power on paper, but actual power, is how much trust they have in their team, in between them and the management team. I want
One example before you are going to next question is, if we look to the family, which we understand it's very typical environment and a relationship between siblings, which usually are built on competition, not on trust. In the same time, there are situations when the parent or someone else, or grandpa, even more grandpa, comes into the picture and build new level of trust with just questioning both parties and opening them to perspectives, how the thing could look from different angles or perspectives.
Yeah.
And this is actually the same how you build trust within team. If you see need to build trust between two colleagues, you as leader create some bridges or new environment. If you have lack of trust between as leader, you and your colleague, you can take someone third within the room and ask to them how it looks from both perspectives, or from above as supervisory board, or from outside as consultant. So you always can take some third eye and ask how it looks from the mediation perspective. And when there is more clarity, there is more trust.
I remember that also in a dialogue, let's say there's a dialogue between the CEO and CPO, and the CPO says something, I think we should do this, and if the CEO at that moment says, no, I think we should not, we should instead do this and this decreases the trust. But if the CEO asks, okay, didn't think of this, tell me more, what do you think about it, and why do you think about it, and listens out, and then says that I hear you, but no, because, then this does not decrease trust, because he tried to understand the other perspective, even if he disagreed eventually.
Agree, there also could be different approach.
Yeah.
Usually we tend to create our ideal scenario, how things should be done and how paths we should take or choose. But if you create model of scenarios that actually reality could be there and there, for instance, like our clients definitely more will like to use app instead of web, or vice versa, or whatever. And if you create your path as best answer to all three scenarios, then you can go through the process with including visions of CPO, of CEO, and maybe some others as well, and you can create path which answers to potential scenarios and create best fit to one of them.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
This is scenario thinking.
Okay. Trust also can be destroyed very quickly through lying, right? If you just outright lie, very nice way to destroy
I know
trust.
that.
I know
very good.
from my experience that trust can be maybe not destroyed but damaged by destructive aggression. I've been in moments destructively aggressive to my partners, colleagues, and when I reflect back, this always comes from fear, like in me. Fear kicks in, and then there's the reaction which comes out as an aggression.
Look to the dog.
Yes. So
this is how it works.
And lying also comes, I think, through certain fears. I fear to say, what is there for I lie? And can you reflect also on the aspect of fear in your life or in what you have observed with working with people? Fear has many forms, but what have you observed about it and how it affects trust and also other dimensions important in human relationships and in business?
Of course, we have different fears. Typical fear in professional world is fear I'm not good enough. And this is the same as in family. You can work with your child differently. One is approach, that if you make some mistake, you will be punished. Second approach is try as much you can, but if we agree that this is not the way how we do, then only if you intentionally do in that way what we agreed that it's not our way, then you have some consequences. The same in work environment. If environment is very clear about agreements, if we agree that and that we do in that way, or we need that and that progress in sales, then we follow this path and then we come back to discuss why we are not in the expectations level, or how we can gain from the overachieving. But if we are talking about unknown, which is not covered with agreement, we should feel this freedom that there is place for my action.
Can you give example about this?
For instance, again, we can talk about technology. And there could be opportunity to increase, I don't know, efficiency of sales channels or whatever. And if we agree that we need to achieve, I don't know, 100,000 sales, and if there is opportunity to do some new move which could increase or decrease sales, but we did not discuss whether you have some level of risk. And if I'm trying to do this step, this is my freedom.
Mm-hmm.
If there is agreement that you will not risk without permission, then you need to ask to your colleagues who need to give you permission. But if there is no this agreement, it's your opportunity until you deliver what you promised. So my point is that you cannot be punished, or you cannot be limited in your inspiration.
This, I guess, at least I get the thought also that once I talked with one VC fund manager, and he complained that just one company bankrupted, and asked what happened, what killed them, and he said, micromanagement. So meaning that if the team members are afraid to make decisions and do stuff on their own unless they get approval from the top, then this makes organization slow and limits the creativity also.
That's why startups are faster as big organizations.
Unless they are micromanaged.
Perfect. And if they are micromanaged, they are just failed startups.
In most cases, that's the risk case. How do you are also a mentor, and as a mentor, what is the angle or angles that you look at because when C-level executives come to mentors, then it is not that now I have one topic which I want. Of course, there's a topic for the meeting usually, but we look much broader and also deeper. So how do you look at working with mentees from C-level?
It depends. It could be totally case-by-case stories, because I'm always understand that first you should look to the struggle. What is struggle in mentee's head?
Yeah.
Only when we tackle first struggle, which is in mentee head, we can go further with observation about his or her fit within organization or strategy. And that's second what I usually do. I'm looking to personality and his or her fit within strategy of the company and team. Main tool is understand the relationships, measure relationships.
Which is something that you cannot formalize. What I mean is that you cannot give instruction to someone that this is the process, do it, and then you give this is so much sensing and experience in this.
The main thing is that it could be done only within certain time of period. That creates clarity about whether relationships are working or they are already damaged so deeply that it's better to just finish them. Mm-hmm. And that's why in my understanding it's usually so important in beginning to understand what's going on in your mind, what's bothering you at that moment, what is the main challenge, then to observe this, understand whether you are capable internally with your personal tools and work to limit struggle of this challenge what you have in your mind, whether this is in family or in other relationships or in work. And when you achieved some progress there, then you are much more open to look broader. What's going on? What works for you? What works for company? How those things fit together?
This makes sense, meaning you can't just like go philosophical, metaphorically speaking, unless you have resolved the burning urgent pain.
Maslow pyramid. In a sense.
Martin, to move to concluding our discussion, I want to ask you this. When a new client comes to Cocoon and we are thinking and feeling how to make the mentor-mentee match, yes, we take into account the business know-how of the mentor and the needs of the person, and then this human or personal, and then also the chemistry match. And when I think of you from business perspective, I usually think in terms of company structure, governance processes, productivity of the person. And I don't mean productivity in the sense of do you use Pomodoro, but productivity in the terms of do you know how to delegate properly, do you use meetings in the correct way. So these types of things come to my mind when I think of you. And also this other dimension, which is being honest with yourself, at least with yourself.
Good start.
Understanding and managing the web of relationships in the company where the trust is this bridge between people. So these are and then the optimism and positivity, which I also sense is a currency that you have, and then you can fill others' tray if it's a bit empty on these things. Did I miss something? Would you correct something in what I said?
Inspiration, yes. Structure and processes, how to govern company.
Yeah.
Time
what
efficiency.
size of company?
Doesn't matter.
No, but I mean your experience is looking at how big organizations, smaller, I understand. Thousands of employees. Okay.
Yes. When you have more than 100, actually, this already is about the principles, not anymore about techniques.
Yes.
Whether culture is there, whether right procedures are there, whether right structure is there, and whether right talent for the strategy is there. Those are main principles.
Yeah. Okay.
Culture setting of the company. It's core thing, which I see, I understand, and which brings value for longevity of the company, I would say.
Okay. On this note, we can also conclude. And thank you, Martin, for the discussion. It was very interesting. I also really loved how you opened up and shared about this lying and the trust building. And I feel this is the main highlight here, and also hopefully the main takeaway for anyone who listens, that be honest at least with yourself.
Absolutely, that's true. Thank you, Farhad.
Thanks, Martin.